Okay, so my headphone mic is being weird, so I have to use my computer mic. Hopefully it comes through. Okay, so the assignment week 6 shader graph. Brick or stone wall that has moss grow on it in areas that only the artist decided were possible. Or the metal shipping container, I did the rock wall or stone wall. I did start with brick, but I was trying to do some triplanar stuff, and it was being a bit weird with the tiling, so I'm going to look more into that later. For the Y direction and Z direction, but I think the X direction is perfectly fine. Something weird like that, just because of the block cube that I used. But yeah, so I'm doing the stone wall, and I'm growing moss on it. So basic sort of stone wall here. Like I said, the tiling was being weird, like the triplanar on the top and sides, but so I just kind of focused as if like this was the outside of a building. You'd only really see this wall anyway, but so, or I think actually if I stretch this it should work fine, but whatever. So here's this, look at shader. This was the one I was trying to use for the brick wall, but so I made moss 2, which is the stone wall. Drag this over. Alright, so hopefully it's right. So pretty much I have this kind of warping function. I start from back over here. So the normal vectors, this is, I had to do like some inverse moss directions because I wanted it for the entire wall, not just like 3 sides of it, so I had to get like both sides. I'm using my hands sort of as arrows, but you don't see them. Dot product to a power, which kind of makes it so it's either stronger or weaker. Clamp to knock between 0 and 1 almost. Add those together, multiply it by a moss amount, so then you can control how much moss there is. Then, so down here, I know we weren't supposed to have like simple noise, but bear with me. So I have this moss placement, which is where the artist will put in a map of where they want the moss to grow. So say if they use Substance Painter and they draw their moss on in there and they say, okay, this is where the moss should go, they would extract the map out of Substance Painter and they'd put that here. I added this simple noise where it would subtract from this and clamp it between 0 and 1, so that it can have what they put in but add a little bit of randomness to where it will show up if they want it. They don't have to turn on the simple noise. This can be set to 0, and just have whatever they put on and it just goes up, or it can have a little bit of randomness, which I will show later. This over here is the normals for the moss and the rocks, so that when it's all rock, it's the rock normal. When it's all moss, it's moss normal. Put in normal, put in albedo. Yeah, I think that's about it. So right now, here's just the rock. I have this add moss script, which is basically it's just going to go back and forth between 0 and 1 on the moss amount, to show the moss growing and then going away on it. So I can show that now. So yeah, so the moss kind of like grows on, and once this hits 1, which like now it's pretty much like all just the moss texture, now it goes back down and back to rock. So fairly simple, just pinging back and forth with a time delta time. But so if we turn, let's see, where is it? Down here. Like I can kind of control it here, so just a nice amount of moss. But oh yeah, and the contrast was so we could kind of make it stronger or weaker. So one of the big points of it was the where do we put the moss. So I have these 3 just random things I found online. So I'll start with just pretty much a basic one. Like I said, I started with the brick wall, but didn't really go well. So say I have this moss placement in here, and this could be any black and white map or whatever you want to put in here, and it'll basically tile it and put it around the block. So say we have these squares, so we turn moss up, and now we have these squares. The artist said no moss in these sections, now there's no moss. Sort of just a basic thing, it goes around on all the sides. But like I said earlier, in Substance Painter they would get a black and white map saying that they want moss in, say, these sections and not in these sections. Then they just put it in, works. This one, it's just some leaves, and I got the idea of like it could be like a cobblestone path almost. If you drop the contrast down a little bit, and it looks like if you put this on the ground it could be some form of path, but still again, moss grows where you want the moss to grow, and then the rest of the places have the stone. Turn that up really high so you can like see that it has the texture. And then we're going to turn these back down a little bit. And if I just put this, so like I said, like I can turn that up, and there we go. Like they said in these sections you want moss, in other sections you don't, so that's how that would look. I'll run this one again, and then I'll show the noise amount as the like extra little thing that I added in. So right now the noise amount is 0 at the bottom, which means that this is purely just what the artist said. So the moss grows on, and as this number goes back down, the moss slowly goes away. So finally, with this noise amount, I'm gonna, oh, it went too far. There we go. So say we have it about, I'll just throw it all the way to 1. Take this noise amount and we can randomize it a little bit and take out just a little bit of the moss that's there, and now it just looks a little bit more natural, not so hand painted. If we kick it all the way up to 2, it pretty much takes a lot of the moss away, but you have some bigger patches. Take this down some, take this down. Just gives you a nice moss wall. And if you take this away, and this allows it so if you want just a full noise moss, you can. So yeah, a few extra little things in there. So I'll put this one back on, and I already showed it going back and forth, but I'll show it with some of the noise on. Yeah. And I have this other little script that basically just makes it so I can fly around. But yeah, see, the moss just grows on slowly. And once it passes about 0.6, it gets to be like really strong moss. And then it comes back down. And what's nice too is because it's a shader and it's these numbers. So say I want it right there, stop it. Stopped at that number, and I can remember, oh, 0.518 is really good moss setup. With this map and exactly 1 in the noise. If I want to turn the noise down, noise up, yeah. I'll show this one more time. But yeah, here was my noise. Like I said, you don't have to put it in. because this could be 0 and just basically say subtract nothing and just give you whatever the artist gave. And I saw some stuff where there's Unity add-ons where you can draw and paint in scene and basically turn Unity into Substance Painter. But it was an add-on, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try and just do it through script, and they can use Substance Painter later. Show this real quick too. So this was the one I was trying to use the brick wall for, and this is me trying to do triplanar. I changed it over to rock, but I was trying to use the brick wall, and I mean, it came out okay. Like the brick wall tiling, like that stuff came out okay. This was just a first attempt at trying to make moss, but I kind of just scrapped it and left this one and came over to here with this setup with the dot product and power and clamps and whatnot. These are just a couple triplanar examples that I have.